Hey everyone, it's Tyler and Michelle Strike from Universal Rackets, and in this video we're going to be going over one key thing that you must do throughout the pickleball court. I was playing last night and I struggled with this all the time. And what happened is I was catching too many balls inside, I was popping too many balls up, and I was just missing shots. I constantly have to remind myself personally to do this one tip, technique, and tactic that we are going to go over in this video. If you can stick with this tactic, you're going to win so many more points. You're going to have so faster hands, and also you're going to be able to really exceed or succeed in the transition zone. And what is that? That is keeping your paddle out in front. Now, I know this is easier said than done, keeping your paddle out in front really, but yes, when I go up to the kitchen, I'm going from the baseline off my third shot up to the kitchen. I like to keep my paddle inside or even keep my paddle down. It might be because I'm accustomed to playing tennis for over 20 years. I'm not sure, but what happens is the ball's coming, I'm in the transition zone and I have to get my paddle up and I get jammed. Or I get chicken winged every single time. Yeah. So we're going to be going over and doing a full video on how to always keep your paddle out and up in front.
Right.
Every single time that you're on the pickleball court, when you're moving from the baseline to the kitchen and when you're up at the kitchen, you need to look like this. And again, this is so much easier said than done.
Right. So it could be a paddle up first. So paddle up in your ready position. But what I feel like you mess up on too is having it up and out. So you don't want to drop your paddle down to your side. You don't want to be running up with your paddle down. Of course you need it up, but you also need it out.
Yeah, up and out in front. And it's pretty cool because I feel like a couple of these videos we work on your game and improving your shots and techniques.
Right.
This video is going to be specifically for me.
Right. And this is also a very interesting point to make too, is like I was telling you the other day, I know exactly how to beat you in 7-11 doubles or skinny singles, and it's when I see you moving in transition, I don't go for your forehand or your backhand, I go for your body. Because every time I go to your body, you're either moving your paddle up or you're moving yourself, and that's when the only time I can catch you. Is your body while you're moving, because there's something missing there.
So in this video, we're gonna fix it for me. And again, if you stay tuned, you're going to get tons of tips and tons of tricks so you do not have this error. Or if you don't think you have it, if you can really think about keeping your paddle up and out in front, it's going to elevate your whole pickleball game. So let's get started and let's show you what I typically do wrong, probably 90% of the time. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to literally show you exactly what I was doing wrong last night and what I should be doing. So here was me last night. I go and hit my third shot drop or drive, here we are, and then I move up and my hands are down. Or if you notice when I made contact with the ball, I made contact so close to my body and I was jammed. And like you were saying, Michelle, this is how you know how to beat me, right? Because I'm always having my hands down. This is what it's like, right?
It's like down and close to your body.
Yeah, so we'll do two more. Here we are. So again, I'm gonna hit my drop or drive, and then again, I'm gonna run up, and my hands are going to be in here. Even if my hands are up, that one kind of my hands were down because I'm trying to exaggerate, but even if my hands are up, I keep my hands close to my body. So I don't take my paddle out in front. So what I should be doing is after I hit my drop or my drive, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to be moving with my paddle out in front all the time. So again, after I hit my third shot drop or my third shot drive, I'm going to hit and then I'm going to run up with my paddle up and out front. And that's right, Michelle, like this, correct? Okay, because you're mic'd up so you can give some comments. Here we are. So I'm gonna hit again, drop or drive. I'm going to move up and then again, I'm going to go. I feel like personally with me, I feel like even if the ball is low, I feel like I got to take my paddle back because that comes from tennis.
I also think too that you're taking time away from yourself. That's why you can never take it as a forehand. Everything you do is here, and that's how you get into these chicken wings too.
Yeah, because I learned from YouTube, one person said, Colin John's tip, you always want to cheat the backhand side, which is okay when you are playing on the right side and you're up at the kitchen.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't work for the whole pickleball court.
In transition, you almost always want to take a forehand if you can.
And my automatic response is backhand. So I'm running up here again, and then I go. So every single time again when I do it, I am going to be walking up with my paddle up and out in front. The whole time, I want to make sure that my paddle is here. My paddle is following the ball again, and I'm going to be going up, and then I'm going to hit a forehand or a backhand. Even there, I wanted to cheat the backhand. Here we are, one more. So I'm going to go up again, keep the paddle up, and now look, there's a forehand. Now, this is so much easier said than done. Right now, I'm working on it slow. Michelle's trying to work with me. But when we're playing a match, I automatically revert to this. A great drill to do, and what we're going to do is, give me a ball real quick. I'm going to hit, and when I hit, I'm going to keep the ball in my armpit every single time. So now I'm going to hit my drive or my drop. Watch, right? So I'm going to hit my drive or my drop here, and then look, now I'm going to hit. Oh, look, I hit a forehand there. By keeping the ball, again, in your armpit and not dropping it, it's going to force your arm and paddle to stay out in front when you hit. Now, this is easier said than done, again, but this is a great drill to do. So step number one is, again, making sure that when you go from point A to point B, from your third shot to the kitchen, you're keeping your paddle always out in front, and you're making sure your paddle tip is following the ball. And that's the next thing that we are going to be going over. So if I choose to hit my drive or my drop straight ahead to Michelle, watch where the tip of my paddle is going to follow. It's going to follow directly towards Michelle. Now, if Michelle's on the other side, and I choose to hit my drop or my drive or to my other opponent, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow the tip of my paddle over here. So that's another thing, not only making sure that you keep your paddle tip out in front, but you make sure your paddle tip follows where you're going to go.
Right. And everything that Tyler has said thus far is an example if his shots are great, if he hits a great shot to me, if his drop drops into the kitchen. But to get a little bit more in depth with this is if his ball's higher and I'm attacking him and I'm not being cooperative while we're drilling, as you get more in depth with your matches and your points and your practices, he's going to have to keep the paddle out in front. But if he knows that the ball's coming down because he hit a high shot, he just needs to use more of his legs. So he's still going to be out in front, but he's going to now sink into his legs, and his paddle's coming directly down to the ground to defend that shot. I've seen a lot of points in my last few matches with the women that I play with, and a lot of the points were won was because their paddle positioning was poor. They saw the ball that was coming down, but they're just too late to get there. They're too late to get to the low ball because they're either have their paddle still up when it should be coming straight down, or it is tighter to the body.
And you read my mind. That was the next thing that I was going to go over. I love when we do this, is legs. You have to use your legs, and especially when that ball goes down. Because when you are up at the kitchen and I'm back at the baseline, whenever you hit a ball to your opponent at the kitchen, what's your goal right now?
Mine.
Or what don't you want to do?
Who, me or you?
Yeah, you. I had a drop, right? What don't you want to do? You don't want to pop the ball up. Right. So what you don't want to do, here we are, pop the ball up, right, as the kitchen person. You want to give a high ball that I can take out, okay? Michelle's goal is to what? Keep the ball low and keep me back.
And attack his feet. Because that's the best way to win points for me against you, is hit your feet.
Yes.
Because that's the hardest shot to defend. Now, if you have your paddle in the right place, you're going to get surprised. Even making contact with that ball, if it's not a perfect reset, it's still probably going to go back over the net.
Yes. So again, you have to realize the person at the kitchen's goal is to get you low and to get you at your feet. Why? Because if they give you a high ball, you can come down on the ball and be super aggressive. If they give you a low ball, watch, give me a low ball, I'm going to have to pop the ball up, and then she can be aggressive, okay? So your opponent is trying to keep you low and at your feet. So at first we showed you how you should move in general. Now we're going to be talking about like real world, real pickleball application, okay? So you're going to try to go low at my feet, okay? So again, I'm going to start trying to make sure that my paddle is up and out front. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting into my legs and trying to get low and go down, okay? So here we are. You're just going to play it out. Here we are. So I'm going to keep my paddle out in front. Here we are. Okay, nice.
Low.
Keeping it low. So that was a good drop. So I knew by a good drop, you couldn't keep it super low.
Right.
The second one was good. I popped the second one up. But the first one, I hit a good drop. I knew that you couldn't really come down.
The second one was fast though. It was a fast shot at me.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about Tyler in transition. You at the kitchen, me at the kitchen. If I for 1 second took my paddle back here, I wouldn't have made that counter.
Yeah.
So you have to have also your hands out and your paddle up in front.
And this is what happens when your wife gets much improved in pickleball. Right there, I thought I was going to easily win the point, speed it up at her, okay, at a 4-0 maybe, right, at a 3-5. I would have won that point every single time. But against her, the higher you get in pickleball and play the higher levels, what are you going to do? She's going to be able to just counter that. So I should have dinked that or neutralized it back.
Don't hit a high ball to my forehead.
That's her favorite shot. So again,
Okay.
if I hit a good drop, let's see this one. Here we are. Okay, that's a good drop. Oh, shoot, and I did again. So I have to be patient. Pop it up. Don't hit a high ball to my forehand.
Oh, it hit my thumb.
Okay.
Another thing I would do want to say too, strategy-wise, because you know I love to talk strategy in pickleball. When you're playing in a point with 4 people in a match, a good rule of thumb too is to know where to hit the ball. So say they're serving, or I'm serving to them, third shot comes back, where do you hit the next ball? You usually want to hit the ball at the person who's deeper in the court because it's harder to get up to the kitchen when you're back at the baseline.
And that's a huge tip. Yeah, always hit to the person that's furthest back in the court, okay? Now, so those first 2 were good drops. I felt good about, I knew it, that they were good. So what's that going to do? That's going to force me to not have to really get my paddle down super low and defend.
Because then you have the green light to move up.
Now, this ball, I'm going to purposely pop the ball up a little bit, and you're going to see what I do. Go for it, okay? We're playing it out. Here we are. Oh, I shouldn't have been fast there, because even if I made that, she would have countered it. That's a 3rd time. And that's where, again, I come from tennis, and this is what separates me from a pro-level pickleballer,
Right.
is I try to go hard. I can hit the ball hard. I can hit the ball with spin. I can kill the ball. But the better players that you play, they're going to be able to just hit it right back with ease.
That should have been a reset. It should have been a drop in the
100%.
kitchen against me, because you should also know your opponent and know that I'm going to mess up 10 times before you mess up.
100%. So I gave you a little bit high of a drop, too high, but as you saw, I put my paddle down and I got low. Let's try to do it again. Try not give you as bad of a drop. Here we are. No. Okay, that still was all right. I'm keeping my paddle out in front. Ooh. All right, you shouldn't have been fast there. It was too low. Maybe we should do a video on that.
I mean, how long are we gonna dink?
Let's go, here we are. So I popped the ball up. Here we are. Look, my paddle goes down in transition every single time. Here we are. Let me give you a neutral pop-up. I'm giving her such easy pop-ups. Let's try to do it again.
And you told me to go for it.
Here we are. Yeah, go for it, 100%. Here we are. There we are. Look how my paddle's down.
But see, that was still a higher ball. It wasn't an attack ball, and I messed it.
Here's the big thing, though, where players go wrong in the transition zone when people at the kitchen go at their feet. They bend at their waist, and they don't get low in their legs. If you bend at your waist, watch what's going to happen. Give me a ball at my feet. Oh, I'm going to. Okay, that was a good one. Let's try again.
It wasn't at your feet.
Here we are. I'm gonna bend down, and I have to go up, and she can pop it down. However, if I get into my legs, and now I'm going to be able to just block the ball right back. So again, instead of bending at my waist, I'm going to drop into my legs. Again, this is bad. This is bad. This is good. So you see, I don't bend here. I bend here. I have to get low in my legs. That's going to help you not pop the ball up and get a really good reset. So again, when I go, I want to get down and like this and forward. That is huge. So if you're ever in the transition zone and your opponent's going down at their feet, you're not hitting a super high ball like I gave Michelle 3 times in a row, but you're popping your drop up a tiny bit and you have to hit a ball in the transition zone. What you have to do again is you have to get low in your legs like that, low in your legs, and then move up to the kitchen. So that is huge. So again, what you need to do is always make sure your paddle is up and out in front throughout the transition zone. Then the second thing that you have to do is instead of bending at your waist, you have to drop your legs and get low every single time to neutralize the ball. And also you have to make sure that your paddle tip is always following your shot wherever you go. Now, what else should you do when you're moving up to the kitchen?
Stop your feet before you hit the ball.
And that's huge. You read my mind again. So
Well, you
when
asked
you
a question
hit,
and I was thinking about
you
the
want to
answer.
make sure that you set and freeze wherever you are in the transition zone. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to do this. You don't want to hit, pop it up, and hit and run and keep on moving. The reason why you don't want to run through your shots in the transition zone is because unless they go straight at you, it is so difficult to change direction. And what I mean by that is if I'm running super fast and she goes to the left or the right, I'm not going to be able to break and go to the side. So I need to make sure, again, that I set my body when I hit. So once again, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move up, set, stop my body. I'm gonna move up, stop my body, stop my body, stop my body, and then go. So you always wanna make sure that you stop your body while you make contact or when your opponent makes contact with the ball.
So when you're playing matches, if you notice that you're unable to hit balls back that happen to be down at your feet, it's a very common question we get. How do you defend a ball at your feet? Well, number one, you don't pop it up. Number two, if you do hit a high ball, you know to keep your paddle out and down. Not just down, but out and down to defend those types of shots.
And you need to make sure that you get into your legs, not bend at your waist like we said.
Right, and secondly, if the ball is able to be hit behind you, that means that you're going to be running through your shot and you're not setting yourself with the proper paddle positioning. So work on the drills that we showed you, having one person at the kitchen, another person back, and play out the points. See how you feel with your, and you can even put the balls under your armpits to make sure that you really are getting your paddle actually out and in front.
And I think that's one of the best drills to do. Just have your opponent up at the kitchen. You start from the baseline, simulate your third shot drop, and then get up to the kitchen and try to work on setting and staying still in the transition zone. If you want to make it even worse or even better, what you can do is you can pop the ball up to simulate a aggressive shot that you have to defend and reset. Now, like I was doing in the video, I was popping up the balls too high. So you don't want to pop the balls up too high or your opponent can just wail away and smash at it, but you want to simulate a bad drop or a floating drive that your opponent can come down on. It's going to teach you how to problem solve. It's going to teach you how to get up to the kitchen. And the best part about this drill, after you do it, is you can realize like, okay, if I pop the ball up in the air, if I hit a bad drop, I can still get the point to neutral and then make it an offensive, aggressive shot and still win the point. I can basically save myself.
Yeah.
Which a lot of players think, if I pop the ball up in the air, what are they going to do? They're going to just automatically lose the point.
The worst is when your partner you pop the ball up and your partner goes like this.
Yeah.
They turn away from you and they just think the point's over. It's very, very upsetting to see that happen.
Yes.
So this is a way to get past that and level up your game and have longer points, and longer points means they're more fun.
And again, I feel like this is more of a practice makes permanent type thing. You have to go over and over and over again in a drilling situation, which is probably what I should be doing until I get this in muscle memory. Because what you're going to find out is if you're like this versus like this, or you're bending like this, you're going to play such better pickleball. Your resets are going to be so much better. A lot of players have the reset. You're just not in the proper position or bending the proper way.
And if you're a brand new player too, I've seen this with a couple of my friends I've introduced the sport with, you might have trouble going from forehand to backhand. If you're always out here, you have time to go forehand to backhand. So if the ball comes to this side of your body, you can hit it as a forehand, especially in transition. Most of your shots should be your forehand. And if you're on the right side, you shouldn't really be hitting a backhand. Your partner should be taking that ball as a forehand. So backhands in transition are a really hard shot. So if you're on the left side of the court and the ball goes up the line, that will have to be your backhand if you're on the left side. But you'll now have time because your paddle's in the right spot. If you're down here, you're never gonna have time to go here, here. Never gonna have time to go here, here, or here to here. There's just not enough time in pickleball to do that. So we're giving you a cheat code essentially.
And remember, what separates a beginner intermediate and an intermediate advanced player is that transition zone. Beginner intermediates, again, they pop the ball up, they can't really hit in that transition zone. They either win the point or they get up to the kitchen and win the point. The higher level players can make things happen. They can turn, lemons into lemonade in that transition zone and create more points. Anything else to add?
No, I just think that the most important part of this is to make sure that you're having fun, and the best way to have fun in playing pickleball is number one, to win.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But number two, it really is
play with your husband.
it is having those long rallies where you're playing defense, you're getting back up to the kitchen, you're able to have these types of shots in your tool belt to play longer points, and longer points is more fun, in my opinion.
Yes, so again, try to do this, win more points. I'm going to watch this video again and again because I need to learn this. Have a good one, happy hitting. Let us know if you have any questions or comments. Make sure to subscribe, check out our newsletter. We have so many cool pickleball events going on in the area. Selkirk's coming out with an awesome new paddle. Make sure to stay tuned for that. We can't show you, but it is on the other side of the camera. Super awesome, super amazing. I've played with it. Great spin. I love it with my drives. Use our link in description. Use our promo code ABV-Universal. You get a gift card with purchase. If you purchase Pickleball paddle, you probably can use that gift card to get the best pickleballs on the market that don't break the Selkirk Pro S1 balls. Yeah. The only balls that we use in our drilling and in our pickleball clinics. Players that use doors, I was using doors last night. They wobble, they warp, they go, and like it's just because it's a door. Use an S1, the ball never warps. The only thing that happens probably after like 6 months of play is it starts to kind of wear down a little bit, but then it turns into a Franklin. So it like starts out as kind of like a Dura, and then it goes into a Franklin. So it's still a good playable ball, unlike other balls, they just warp, crack, or whatever. Yeah. Have a good one, happy hitting, subscribe, share with a friend, keep the paddle up out in front, win more points, and we'll see you guys next time on court.